Today, we will be talking about how to overcome worry. So alam niyo, people today are filled with worry. Marami tayong mga pangamba, marami tayong iniisip, marami tayong mga, kumbaga, pumupuno sa ating isip ng mga alalahanin. We worry about the climate, we worry about our health, di ba? We worry about the environment, we worry about our finances, we worry about our marriage, we worry about the end of the world, we worry about the future, we worry about our children. Ang dami-dami nating iniisip, ang dami-dami nating mga alalahanin sa ating puso, sa ating isip. We worry about many things. So kahit matanda ka or bata, kahit mahirap or mayaman, lahat tayo are going through anxieties. We are affected by fears, we are affected by our worries. Pero alam niyo ba na kapag tuwing tayo ay punong-puno ng mga alalahanin, punong-puno ng pangamba sa ating mga puso, apektado rin ang ating physical na katawan. Ano? It affects our overall health. Yun ang nakakalungkot kasi worry causes a lot of physical ailments. Ano? Nagkakaroon ka ng ulcer, nagkakaroon ka ng heartburn, nagkakaroon ka ng acidity. Pagka sobrang stress, sobrang worry, sobrang anxiety, tumataas ang high blood mo. At maraming mga different physical or health conditions caused by anxiety or worry. Kaya nga ngayon, ang lakas-lakas daw ng counseling business, no? Yung ating mga psychiatrists, psychologists, mga therapists, mga counselors, mga mental health experts. So counseling is a booming business because they have their hands full. Thousands of people are struggling with worry. Pero alam niyo ba na magkaiba ang worry at ang concern? Magkaiba daw yung punong-puno ka ng pangamba at alalahanin, iba rin yung nag-iingat ka lang. Magkaiba pala yun. Ano ba yun? So, worry, in a sense, is a sense of hopelessness and helplessness. Parang punong-puno ka ng pangamba at parang nawawalan ka na ng pag-asa. It comes from a feeling that there is nothing you can do to make things better. Yun ang problema sa worry. It's a negative and a toxic feeling. Parang sense of hopelessness and helplessness. So worry is a victim mentality that paralyzes you to drown in anxiety. Yan. So kaya may tinatawag na mga anxiety attacks. Hindi ka makagalaw, parang feeling mo mamatay ka, hindi ka makahinga. So it's a feeling that paralyzes you. What about concern? Concern is more optimistic and positive. Concern is a sense of cautiousness, nag-iingat, pag-iingat. In a sense, there is wisdom when you are concerned. It's a sense of carefulness that leads to the person to seek active solutions to the problem or issue at hand. So kung ang worry paralyzes you and you are now overwhelmed with anxiety and fear, yung concern, you are actively seeking for solutions to the problem. Galing, So to be worried is one thing, to be concerned is another thing. So to be concerned is to do something to make things better. Example, may isang tao na discover niya, yung family niya ay may history ng cancer. So when you are overwhelmed or paralyzed by worry, naku, lagi ka ng praning, lagi ka na nag-aalala, lagi kang takot, baka magka-cancer ka, baka mamatay ka, hindi ka na makatrabaho, hindi ka na makaisip, wala ka na panahon sa pamilya mo kasi you are enslaved by worry. Nakagapos ka sa puro takot at pag-aalala. But a concerned person, na-discover niya na meron palang history of cancer yung kanyang family. Instead, he will act on this knowledge and start eating healthy and start taking care of his body. And he will seek medical attention when he feels something is not right in his body. Magkaiba ang worry tsaka concern. So this afternoon, we will start our discussion by answering the question, how do we overcome worry? Paano nga ba natin pagtatagumpayan? Magagapi itong negative, toxic feeling of anxiety and worry. Itong ating buhay na punong-puno ng mga pangamba. So ito yung guideline number 1. Acknowledge that worry has become a problem. This is the first step to overcoming any enslaving or toxic feeling like worry. Pagka umaamin ka na sobra na, problema na ito, hindi na to basta concern. It has become an anxiety. So admitting that you have a problem of worry is the first step towards seeking solutions. So dapat marunong kang umamin na hindi mo na kaya or umamin na parang kailangan ko ng tulong. When you are humble enough or courageous enough to admit that you need help, that is the first step to seeking solutions to your emotional problems. So this humble acknowledgement leads you to seek help from others. Meron ka bang nasasabihan? Meron ka bang naiiyakan? Meron ka bang nasusumbungan? Meron ka bang mga kaibigan na pinagtitiwalaan mo na pwede mong takbuhan kapag punong-puno ka na ng problema at mabigat na at matindi na at masakit na at napakapait na ng pinagdadaanan mo? Yan, ano? So, the first thing you need to do is to surround yourself with safe people. Yung mga hindi ka i-chismis, hindi ka ilalaglag, tsaka hindi ka i-judge, di ba? Na pwede ka maging totoo at umamin na kailangan mo ng tulong in this area called worry. No? Punong-puno ka ng pangamba. So, you don't have to carry your burdens on your own. Ako, this is for me, ano? Kasi minsan tayo, lalo na tayo mga lalaki, meron tayong pride. No? Ayaw nating umamin na kailangan natin ng tulong. Ayaw nating umamin na tayo hirap na at bigat na sa ating mga pinapasang mga problema. At yung ating mga pangamba ay sobra-sobra na. So the first step is you admit, you acknowledge that you're worrying, yung mga pangamba mo ay nagiging problema na. Hindi ka na masaya, at hindi ka na healthy, at hindi mo na ma-enjoy yung buhay mo, hindi mo na ma-enjoy yung trabaho mo, hindi mo na ma-enjoy yung mga relasyon mo. That's a problem. So you seek help. You acknowledge that worry has become a problem. So that's guideline number 1. Ano? So kailangan mong tumawag sa mga kaibigan ng tulong. Ito naman yung guideline number 2. To overcome worry, we need to focus on the brighter side of things. Naku, ang dami nito, no? Actually, there are many ways to overcome worry, but this is on the top of the list. Sometimes kasi, our worries lose their power over us when we look at the more positive side of our solutions. So when you start counting your blessings instead of counting your problems, mapapansin mo, unti-unting lumuluwag yung kapit o yung gapos ng pangamba sa puso mo. When you start focusing on the blessings, when you start focusing on the positive, when you start focusing on the brighter side of the situation, worry seems to slowly melt away. You know? Parang gumagaan ang pakiramdam ko. Nawawala yung aking mga takot at pangamba. So when you get into the habit of counting your blessings, instead of dwelling on your problems, you are better off in overcoming your worries. Nalala ko to, no? Some time ago, I was really a very, very anxious, worried person. Naramdaman nyo na ba yun? Nagkakaroon ako ng mga anxiety attacks, panic attacks. Punong-puno ako ng pangamba at takot sa aking puso. So minsan sasabihin ng doktor, wala ka namang sakit eh. Ba't di ka makahinga? Wala ka namang sakit. Ba't nangangasim ang sikmura mo? Normal naman lahat ng ultrasound mo, lahat ng blood test mo. Siguro punong-puno ka ng pangamba. Sabi ng doktor sa akin, Sir, baka kailangan mo lang magpahinga, kailangan mo lang magpatawad, baka may kaaway ka, o kailangan mo lang mag-take a break from all your worries and all your stress. Grabe pala yun, ano? So, there was a mentor, a coach, isang kaibigan ko, who asked me to sit down and sabi niya, Mike, alika dito. This is a paper and a pen. I want you to list down the things that you are thankful for. Sabi ko, ha? Basta gawin mo lang yan. Yan ang assignment mo sa akin. So, yung kayang coaching niya sa akin, yun ang counseling niya. So, I started listing down, all the things that I'm grateful for. In other words, I started counting my blessings. Sabi ko, nasunod ko doon, I'm grateful that I have a good and loving wife. I have a good son. And I have friends who love me and who care for me. I have a good ministry. So, isa sinulat ko yung mga blessings ko, that the things that I am thankful for. Something happened, Something happened when I started doing that, I started focusing on the brighter side of things. Parang unti-unting napalitan ng confidence, napalitan ng joy, napalitan ng peace of mind, yung aking mga anxiety and fear and worry. Ay, grabe, no? So, wow! Amazing, ano? So, sometimes kasi, when we are focused on what we lack, or when we are focused on the things we cannot control or we cannot solve, naku, mapapraning ka talaga. Talagang you will be overwhelmed. But when you focus on the things that make you happy, that make you laugh, that make you smile, di ba? So, hindi malaki ang bahay ko, hindi siya multiple bedroom, hindi siya mansion. Pero, meron kaming, di ba, tahanan at hindi kami nakatira sa kalye. Di ba? Hindi naman ganun ka taas yung aking trabaho. Hindi naman ganun kasikat. Pero, kumakain kami at hindi kami nahuli sa mga bayarin. Di ba? So, you focus on the brighter side. Oo nga, no? Hindi perpekto ang anak ko, hindi perpekto ang asawa ko, hindi perpekto ang pamilya namin. Pero magkakasama kami, buo kami, nagmamahalan kami. Wow, no? So yes, you acknowledge the problems, but something is more stronger than the problems. And those are the blessings. When you focus on the blessings, the power of fear, the power of anxiety, they lose their grip on you. The problems start to become, to feel that they are smaller. They look smaller compared to the blessings of God. Which brings us to guideline number 3. Trust that God will take care of you. Oh, wow, this is my favorite, ano? Kasi sa totoo lang, when you believe that there is a God who loves you, a God who cares for you, a God who will carry you through, isang Diyos na mapagmahal, isang Diyos na may hawak ng iyong buhay. Ano man yung pinagdadaanan mo, mabuti man o masama, pangit man o maganda, matamis man o mapait, hawak ako ng Diyos. So meron kang confidence, meron kang courage and strength na magpatuloy, na labanan yung anumang bagyo, ang pinagdadaanan mo, anumang pandemya, ang sinusuong mo. Merong Diyos na may hawak sa akin. Wow! No? You trust that God will take care of you. Kaya nga sabi ni Jesus sa Matthew chapter 6, no? This is why I tell you not to worry. Galing, no? Not to worry about everyday life. Huwag mo na isipin yung kakainin mo, anong iinumin mo, anong susuot mo. Sabi niya, isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? Di ba mas mahalaga yung katawan mo kaysa sa susuotin mo? Buti nga may katawan ka pa eh, di ba? Hindi, no? Sabi ni Jesus, tingnan mo yung mga ibon. Look at the birds. Hindi yan nagtatanim. Hindi yan pumapasok sa trabaho. They don't harvest. They don't store food in the barns, but walang bank account yung mga yan. But your heavenly Father feeds them. Hindi sila pinapabayaan ng Diyos. Ikaw pa? Papabayaan ka pa ng Diyos? Di ba mas mahalaga ka sa mga ibon na ito? Wow, this is amazing, ano? Sabi niya, you're more valuable to Him than they are. So that is why the Bible, God invites us to trust Him more than all of our needs and all of our problems and all our worries. You know? He is a God who is bigger than all those. He's much, much more good than what you are going through. Wow! Ano? So, the God who cares for you. Kaya nga sabi ni Jesus sa Matthew 11, come to me, all of you who are weary, and worried, and carry heavy burdens. Mabigat na ba ang dala mo? Marami ka bang pasang-pasang mga pangamba at mga alalahanin? Yan, ano? Sabi ni Jesus, come to me, and I will give you rest. I will give you rest. Gusto niyo ba noon, kapahingan? By the way, this rest is not just physical rest, no? Kasi yung physical rest, madali eh. Mag-day off ka, magtulog ka, hindi rested ka na, no? But this rest is the rest for the soul. Kasi kahit anong tulog ang gawin mo, kahit anong pampaantok ang gawin mo, if your soul is worried, if your soul is filled with fear, if your soul is anxious, wala kang kapahingahan. Tulog ka ng tulog pero pagod ka pa din. But Jesus gives us rest for our soul. Gives us rest for our spiritual lives. And it affects our physical and our mind and our emotions as well. Meron akong paboritong kwento na lagi kong kinikwento. The farmer had a motto in life. His motto is, whether good or bad, only God knows. Saan ka pa? Meron ka ba ganyang motto? Gusto niyo ba yung ganyang motto? Whether good or bad, only God knows. Di ba? Magkaiba naman tayo ng mga motto in life, no? Some of us, ang motto is, cleanliness is next to godliness. That's a motto, di ba? Or, time is gold. Yan yung mga motto in life. Itong magsasakang ito, this farmer, yung motto niya is, mabuti man o masama, Diyos lang ang nakakaalam. Ang ganda, no? Whether good or bad, only God knows. So itong magsasakang ito, ang gamit niya sa kanyang pag-aararo, sa kanyang farm, is not a cow or a carabao, no? Ang gamit niya ay kabayo. So he uses the horse to plow the field. One day, itong kabayong ito nakawala at pumunta sa bundok, pumunta sa gubat, at napakalungkot ng magsasaka. Lungkot na lungkot siya. Wala na yung kabayo niya, wala na siyang katulong sa pagpa-plow ng field. Narinig ng mga kapitbahay. The neighbors heard the story and they said, bad, very bad. But the farmer said, whether good or bad, only God knows. Ang galing, ano? Mabuti man o masama, Diyos lang ang nakakaalam. And after several days, itong kabayo na magsasaka, the farmer's horse, met hundreds of horses in the forest. Sabi niya, uy, mga kakabayo, mga dabarkads. Sabi niya, uy, uwi tayo sa amin, yung magsasaka na may-ari sa akin. Mabait yun, naalagaan tayo, papakainin niya tayo. So one early dawn, isang madaling araw, daang-daang kabayo ang pumunta sa barangay. Parang lumilindol. Daming kabayo. Went to the farmer's farm. So, nagising yung magsasaka. Wow! Woohoo! Daang-daang kabayo! Milyonaryo na ako! Ang daming kabayo. Nakita ng mga kapitbahay. Nagising sila. Sabi nila, wow! Good! Very good! Palakpakan sila. Sabi ng magsasaka, whether good or bad, only God knows. Galing, ano? Mabuti man o masama, Diyos lang ang nakakaalam. So itong magsasakang ito, meron siyang binatilyong anak, 14 years old boy. So make the long story short, the boy rode one of the wild horses and fell, broke his leg. Napilayan yung bata, napilayan yung anak ng magsasaka. Sinimento yung paa. Ang lungkot ng magsasaka kasi bedridden yung anak niya, hindi makalakad, pilay, sementado ang paa. Narinig ng mga kapitbahay. Nako! Sabi ng mga kapitbahay, bad. Very bad. Minsan yun lang role ng mga kapitbahay sa buhay natin, ano? To judge good or bad. Sabi ng magsasaka, whether good or bad, only God knows. Mabuti man o masama, Diyos lang ang nakakaalam. After several weeks, nakasementado pa rin yung paa ng bata. Nagkaroon ng giyera sa kanilang bayan. And the government of their country required all able-bodied young men 14 years old and above to go to war and die for the country. So nag-iiyakan yung buong barangay kasi yung kanilang mga anak na binata ay pupunta sa gera at mamamatay para sa bansa. Nag-iiyakan lahat, malungkot. Nung makita ng gobyerno na yung anak ng magsasaka ay sementado ang paa, exempted yung bata. At tuwan-tuwa yung magsasaka, nagtatatalon siya, nagsisigaw, yes! Woohoo! Hindi kailangang lumaban ng anak ko sa girat para mamatay. Narinig ng mga kapitbahay. Sabi ng mga kapitbahay, wow! Good! Very good. Sabi ng magsasaka, whether good or bad, only God knows. Wow! No? Sometimes you go through difficult times. You're filled with problems, hindi mo na malaman bakit ba nangyayari ito sa pamilya ko? Bakit ba ito nangyayari sa buhay ko? Minsan, meron kang sakit na walang gamot, meron kang pinagdadaanan na walang solusyon. Parang feeling mo, parang puro sama-sama naman na nangyayari sa akin. Pero sa totoo lang, merong Diyos na nakakaalam. Hindi natin alam, hindi natin maipaliwanag, pero merong Diyos na nakakaalam. Bakit ba kami naghiwalay? Bakit ba ako natanggal sa trabaho? Bakit ba kami naghirap? Bakit ba nagkasakit yung anak ko? Bakit ba? But we can trust that God is good and God is wise and God knows better than we do. So that's called faith. Na ano man yung pagdaanan ko, Lord, kakapit ako sa'yo. Right, let me summarize what we talked about today. How do you overcome worry? Step 1, guideline number 1. Acknowledge that worry has become a problem. Kailangan na humingi ka ng tulong. Pag di mo na kaya, sabihin mo. Kailangan meron kang kaibigan na Maiiyakan, masusumbungan, masasabihan. Guideline number 2, focus on the brighter side of things. Diba? You count your blessings rather than counting your problems. Then, guideline number 3, trust that God will take care of you. Ang Diyos, ang siyang humahawak sa atin. Mas mahalaga ka sa ibon, mas mahalaga ka sa mga bulaklak, ang Diyos ang mag-aalaga sa iyo. Mabuti man o masama, alam ng Diyos kung paano ka alagaan.